you and fucking Julian, and that says it all.
What, fillet of fish?
Yeah.
And we're live, by the way, guys. The thumbnail's on. Sorry about that, guys.
What's happening, people? Hope you're well. Welcome back to the show. It's great to be back on Lead Judges TV after my holiday. I'm here with Lead Judges, and of course, we've got Ash, our Leicester fan. Ash, what are you saying? You good?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. How are you guys?
I'm good, man. I've enjoyed a good holiday, and I've missed some football, but I'm back now, mate. And I've got to say, I'm looking forward to the weekend. I really am. I think this one will be a good game. So, I think you'll cause us some problems, but I do think it'll be a good game for sure. Judges, how are you, mate? Feels like forever.
Good. Oh, yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it? Like, it's been a while. So, nice to have you back. You haven't missed a lot, if I'll be honest. It's been a tough couple of weeks, really. But I'll go into this game with a little bit more confidence after last week than if it had been 2-2. I think that goal from Jorginho was massive in more ways than one. Gives us a little bit more confidence going. And I agree with you. This is going to be a really tough game because I think Leicester have hit a little bit of form. And I know they lost to Man United last week, but they should never have been losing that game at half time. If they had took their chances, they opened up Manchester United on more than one occasion. So just the one thing that gives me confidence going in tomorrow is that they are very shaky at the back again, City. They do. They're not quite there. So hopefully they'll give us a few chances. But I can tell you that now, they create chances against us tomorrow, Dan. They will create chances. So it's going to be an intriguing game. And I can tell you that now. This is how I felt after the game on Saturday, buzzing. Monday, buzzing. Tuesday, buzzing. Wednesday, getting slightly nervous. Thursday, no, and now I'm nervous for the bloody game. And then once this is done, we've got to do it all again on Wednesday, Dan. But listen, that's what going for the title is all about, I suppose. But nervous, worried, but looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well, man. Before I come to Ash, I want to touch on what I've missed, Lee, just really quickly.
Well, you missed the sun. That's what someone's saying down here. Missed
the sun. This is
uncalled for, I think.
This is the most brown, and this is the most brown I've ever been. Do you know what I'm saying?
Did you take your shirt off, or?
Yeah. Of course I did. Give the ladies a treat, mate.
Well, that's what I like to hear.
I had to. You work with me, mate. So someone had to. Do you know what I mean? So, But no, it's mad, isn't it? Because I was in the airport with my parents and watched the Everton Arsenal game, and my dad said to me, "Oh, I've got a bad feeling about this." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, because our flight was delayed. He said the last time I was in the airport and our flight was delayed, Arsenal lost to Birmingham in the League Cup final. I was like, "Oh no, don't say that." Of course, we lose. It was just written. It was just, I knew it was going to happen. And I remember going to the airport thinking, I don't want to rub it in. I'm glad I'm not at Goodison Park. I'm sure they'll have a great day. It'll be good. We must beat Everton. They're absolutely terrible. New manager about. Sean Dyche ain't going to be Lampard. If Frank Lampard stays, Arsenal win that game. I don't care what anyone says. Right, but I just knew what was going to happen. They nullified everything with us. Didn't let us play. Sean Dyche tactics, and I was just thinking, set piece. When's it going to come? Boom, 1-0. There it is. And I just knew it. I just absolutely knew it. And I was like, let's just get a holiday now. I don't care about that. But while I was out there, Lee, there was literally hardly any Wi-Fi. You get Wi-Fi about half hour a day over there. Do you know what I mean? Literally on the island. Do you know what I mean? So I didn't have a clue what was going on. I had to keep going to reception to find out what the scores were and all that, trying to watch it on streams. But on your phone, it's just impossible. And with no Wi-Fi out there, it's absolutely crazy. But I must say, I know the Brentford game was a disgrace with Lee Mason, and rightly so, he's been sacked, and I'm sure you've had a chat about all that. But we didn't deserve to beat Brentford, in my opinion. I don't think we played well enough. I thought Brentford had better chances to the game, and I think we walked off at 1-1 thinking, fair play, we could have probably lost that game. And then going into the Man City game, as soon as I realised Thomas Partey was out, I was like, nah, that's not going to happen. We ain't going to win that game now. But to be fair, I actually felt that we matched them in the first half. I really did. I felt we matched Man City in the first half.
Yeah.
Second half, mate, you cannot make those mistakes. I don't know why Ben White was dropped. I don't. Maybe you can tell me. I don't know if he was injured, but he seemed to be all right in the next game. Tommy Asu, I rate. I think he's a great player. I've never seen him make a mistake like that. That was absolutely shocking. Just put it out for a throw. Where's he going with that pass? It's just poor. And Gabriel has his bozo moment, and luckily we get away with it with Haaland. But then the actual goal that Jack Grealish scores again was Gabriel's. A bit poor from Gabriel. And I just thought they were better than us in the second half, if I'm honest with you. I don't think we can go away from that Man City game thinking, we should have beaten them. That was there. They were there for the taking. I was frustrated. But the Aston Villa game, Lee, my God. I mean, I thought this was happening again. When at the first half performance, I thought, we are crumbling here. What is actually happening here? We can't win a game here. And I say this now, and I don't know if you agree with me. In a way, as much as I was frustrated that Eddie missed his chances and Ødegaard missed his, I actually think the way we won the game is going to give us a massive boost now, as opposed to winning it like 5 or 6-2. So I really think that ending is gonna give us a boost. So that's kind of going through what I've missed. But I wanted to ask you, and I'll get Ash's opinion on this as well. Jorginho's performances in the last couple of games impressed me, Lee. I can't lie.
I have to say that I thought he was impressive when he in the Man City game sort of went under the radar a bit because of mistakes and the performance. By the way, I was told today Haaland scored 1 goal in 6 games. Like, you know what I mean? Guess who that was against? You know what I mean? Unbelievable. Wow. You know what I mean? So I didn't realise that, until today. But anyway, and I thought. The great thing about it is when we went 1-0 down, you go to the game, you feel like, right, this is it. We're going to put on one of those master performances today, command it from the start. First 5 minutes, gone a goal down, you think, oh no. And I'm like you, Dan, you know what I'm like. I'm half empty glass, me, not half full. Like, you know what I mean? This is it. This is the end. But I can say that now. Jorginho, I watched him, and it wasn't just his play. He was telling people what to do. Because he's been there before, he knew what he was doing. Wanted the ball, even under pressure, even while he was 1-0 down. Wanted the ball, took the game. He took the pressure. When players around him, i.e., Saka and Ødegaard, were poor, he kept it ticking away. Now in the second half, when we come back, I thought we come back to 1-1 really well. I thought we were going to go on and win the game. Oh no! Like, it's going to go all the way, and then we missed those chances. But he kept it ticking away. But then in the second half, everybody up their game. Ødegaard in the second half was just unbelievable, I have to say that. But then, of course, when he misses that chance, that's it. Title over. Let's pack our bags. Let's go home. It's not going to be like, But then I'm with you on that, like, to get that last minute goal. Not only that, 2 minutes before that, or a minute before that, they've gone up the other end. Ramsdale's made a great save. I didn't even know he saved that. I just thought he smashed against.
World-class save, mate. It was outstanding.
Didn't know it until after the game. But that bounces to safety. And then there was the other one when they was breaking and Vieira got back and he makes a save. Now, another time that can go straight to the forward's feet and he has an empty goal. It didn't. We had a little bit of luck. Sometimes in football, you need a little bit of luck. And then the goal. Yeah. We hit the bar and it hits Martinez on the head. And the scenes were unbelievable. But I will say this, and I'm going to give Mikel credit for this, because when it was about 20 minutes from the end, I'm going mad. Look, come on, do something, like make some bloody changes, do something different, you know what I mean? Like, but he didn't. He kept it cool. He took off Trossard, put on Martinelli, and then he put on Vieira. They both contributed to the win. Martinelli was the one that made the pass for Jorginho, and then obviously the goal. So where I think people were losing their heads a little bit in the game, and it was a mad game, Dan, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. Mikel kept his cool. In the past, he's made substitutions and not done it right. I think he made a mistake in the Man City game, but the Ben White one. I said it at the time. I don't know why he done it, but he did. But it was a mayhem of a game. It was like nothing was planned. It was like basketball at times, blah, 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 blah. He kept his cool, made the decision. So that was a big thing for me, Dan. I'm going to have to be honest with you. I think that was a thing, because if he'd have listened to me, he'd have made some substitutions. And
the second half, I mean, I don't care what anyone says. That half-time team talk, I'd love to have
must have been lit.
I mean, they came out in the second half absolutely firing. Yeah. And I have to say it, like, you know, I actually thought the first half it was really poor. Like Zinchenko's give away the ball, Jorginho didn't do enough. Saliba, I love Saliba, you know I love the kid, but that was poor against Ollie
Yeah.
Watkins. And to be fair to Villa, they scored a pretty good second goal. I don't think our defending was great for it, but I looked at it was quite a nice piece of play. Saka's goal, Tyrone Mings has tried to get something on it with a header. Saka's come and absolutely bulleted it through. And then the second half, mate, it was just all us. I mean, Ødegaard needed to put that chance away. That was shocking.
Oh.
Eddie Nketiah with a couple of headers that he missed. Obviously, Zinchenko picks up his game. I thought he played much better in the second half, and he come in with a brilliant goal. And then that goal at the end, mate, is just absolutely unreal, isn't it? You know, Emi Martinez, I know he played for Arsenal, but he is an absolute nutter, isn't he? Like, he is a mad.
But he was time wasting all the time, Dan. You know, like, it's no coincidence now, like, you know, that I think that if you look at it, Pope's been booked for time wasting. Man City of goalkeeper has been booked
Edison,
for time wasting. You know, Edison's been Edison. Martinez has now been booked for time wasting. It just shows you a lot of it. And then all of a sudden, like, when it went 3-2, it was like it was a hot potato. He couldn't wait to get rid of it. Like, I mean, it was hilarious. Like, but do you know what? I don't know how I would have been if I was watching that game like in the studio or something like that, and I seen that Ødegaard miss, because when I actually see it in the game, I didn't realise it was easy as what it was. When I see it on set, it's a complete open goal. My God. I think I would have lost the plot then, like, you know what I mean? So I'm glad that I was at the game, you know. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to go to as many games as I can. I don't want to be in that studio because I don't think I'm going to cope too well with this, you know what I mean? Like, I was you know, I went through the emotions of that. I come out of that game, Dan, feeling like I'd played the 90 minutes. I was an emotional wreck after that game. And
the scenes looked unreal, though, mate. I must say, the fans,
it was unreal. You know what I mean? Like, it's worth it in the end. Don't get me wrong, but like, I think that the emotions were all of that because of what had gone on in the past couple of weeks, the Everton game and obviously the Brentford game and the Man City game. I'm with you on the Man City game. Second half, we didn't turn up, but we still went toe to toe, and we didn't play bad against Man City. That was the thing. The only time we played really bad is that Everton game. We was awful. But
yeah, I agree with that.
But I don't think we was that bad in the first half against Villa. I just think we made mistakes. But second half, we was back to where we were, and we've got to be like that against. I think an informed Leicester side at the moment. I think, like, you know, this is going to be a really good game. But I'm telling you that now, Dan. If Arsenal are going to win this league, it's got to be Leicester 0, Arsenal something. You know, we've got to keep a clean sheet. We've got to say now, right. This week we've worked on our defending, and we're going to go. It's got to be. We've had a whole week for this game, so I really do want to see that. But Leicester are a decent side now. You know what I mean? They've got a few of their players back from injury, and listen, this is what the league's. You know, they thumped Spurs 4-1. Well done for that, by the way, Ash. You know what I mean?
Thanks,
Like,
loved it.
So it's going to be not easy, like, you know, not going to be an easy game. And I'll tell you what, it never is there. It's a noisy old place there, like, and
great, though, isn't it? It's good.
It's a great atmosphere at Leicester. I do like Leicester. It's a great away game. And let's be fair, Ash seems like a nice guy, but when you lose to Leicester, they give it. Their fans absolutely give it to you when you're outside and all that, like, you know what I mean? So they're proper on you. So hopefully, like, they won't beat tomorrow.
100%, man. Ash, we'll come to Leicester in a minute, but I want to get your thoughts on this little period of Arsenal's form, because obviously it's been so good, and the last couple of weeks has been a bit of a struggle. Now, luckily, I was on holiday sunning it up, so it weren't too hard for me to take, but it must have been absolutely hell going home and away. So losing to Man City, losing to Everton, not picking up 3 points at Brentford, but then that Villa result just somehow seems so massively key. So I wanted to get your thoughts on it, mate, and where it leaves Arsenal in this title race, mate.
Absolutely. I mean, it's huge because them 3 points just for confidence alone, it's massive, you know. I feel they were unlucky against Brentford. That they got robbed, let's face it. They did. Terrible decision. But in general, I think obviously a win picks players heads up, especially after they've lost to the closest team near to them, like Man City, you know. And then, like Lee says, the first half against Villa, you could sense they were nervous. But that second half, they'd just come out looking like they were just before the spell of games that they had that were all over them. Their attacking play were fluid again. It was lovely to watch. Jorginho's done a great job. Obviously, for you guys, it was always going to be a hovering question that when Partey was injured, is Jorginho going to come in and do the job? And he done a fantastic job of it, I think. And that's massive in a title race, having a player that you can bring in when somebody has got a knock and stuff like that. So, yeah, it is going to be unnerving for any Arsenal fan when you see your team dropping points to Brentford and then looking a bit shaky first half against Villa. You know, Man City and Man City, they can turn it on any game, can't they, against any team? And I just think it was their attacking play and a few Arsenal mistakes at the back that cost them in the Man City game. But over the whole, I don't think Arsenal have looked bad in this period. You know, you take it back 12, 16 months ago, Dan, Arsenal were looking bad when they were playing, and that was a concern. But I don't feel like even through this spell they've looked bad. They've still looked like they can hold their own, and they've dominated games as well in the period. So as an Arsenal fan, I wouldn't be too concerned. We're very worried about playing you this weekend because you are a strong attacking team, and Arteta's got you guys playing some wonderful stuff. In my opinion, the best in the league.
Oh, fair play, man. Fair play. Listen, Lee, I wanted to ask you quickly about the Jorginho and the Partey situation, because the way I see it is this. I've not been able to watch minute 0 to minute 90 of every game for obvious reasons of the last couple of weeks. But what I have seen from Jorginho, there's positives, but there is some negatives as well in his play. As much as I thought he played really well in the last couple particularly, I do think off the ball, he's not as good as Thomas Partey. I do think that he can't get about the pitch as much as Thomas Partey. Having said that, what he has brought is some level-headedness, some experience, a good mentality. I like the experience and also like his passing. I think his passing range is absolutely superb. He does sit and hold, and he has been an upgrade on Lokonga and El Neni as far as I'm concerned from what I can see so far. So I think it's been a good sign, and it's not one that I look at and go, I tell you what, when Partey's out, we're fine now. Jorginho is just as good. He ain't, right? And the other thing that I think is maybe a little bit of a knock-on effect, I don't know what you think about this, Lee. I don't think Granit Xhaka's as good next to him. He's been nowhere near as good for me in the last few games, and I think he misses Thomas Partey. So there's rumours, Lee, that Thomas Partey might be back for this one. Would you play him, or would you leave him and play him for Everton on Wednesday? What do we do?
Well, listen, Granit Xhaka weren't playing well alongside Partey for the last few games as well. Like, you know, listen, I think that Thomas Partey, I'm going to be really honest with you now. I think against Everton and Brentford, I think it was Brentford that he played in, I didn't think he was 100%, and it showed. You know what I mean? So my thing there is, if Thomas Partey's 100% fit, I think, you know, he plays. As simple as that. If he's 70, 80% fit like he has been on the last couple of games, don't risk him. Play Jorginho like that. I mean, that's how I see it now. Like, you know, I thought he played... listen, you're not going to get an upgrade on Partey. I think he's one of the best holding midfield players in the world. You know what I mean? You know, he's in the same category as Casemiro, Rodri. You know, he's that good in my opinion. He's that good. But I do think that, you know, even when you look back at the game against Manchester City in the FA Cup, that first half, we dominated them. As soon as he went off, there was a massive drop. Now, what I will say about Jorginho, take him out of that team this week and we play Lokonga against Aston Villa. We do not win that game. That's how important that performance was from Jorginho. Like, you know, so for me, if he's 100% fit, Partey comes back. If there's a doubt on him, like, oh, we're not too sure and all that, like, on the bench. But what will be good if it can happen is that, which will be a good thing, if Partey is fit, 70 minutes in, you're bringing on Jorginho and he can do the job then, you know, maybe swap it over in the Everton game or whatever, like, you know, I don't know. But I'm fed up, Dan, and as much as I love Partey, as you know, I'm a big fan of, I'm fed up with wet nursing him all the way through this season. That's what we're doing. We're babysitting, but, you know, like putting him in cotton wool too much. You can't rely on him. It's getting me a little bit down there. I was buzzing for that Manchester City game, buzzing for it. I think, like, you know, we can take him here, you know. And then an hour or 2 hours before kickoff, you hear that he's not playing and all that. Now it was a real weird situation. It was that he was back at the training camp having treatment, and that's why he arrived late. And there was a chance that he could play. They didn't want to risk it in the end, and I didn't want to risk it on last Saturday as well, so. It was a kick in the teeth, Dan. You know what I mean? I think for all Arsenal fans, I can only speak for myself, obviously, but I felt it was a real kick in the old ghoulies. You know what I mean? That he was out, I don't want to feel like that no more about it. Get some for me next season. Get somebody in there so when he's out, it ain't a worry. I look at if Ben White was injured, for instance, you've got Tommy Asu to come in there. If anything, God forbid, happens to Shinchenko, you've got Tierney. Eddie's done a decent job. So for me, I have to say that it's getting me down a little bit. But if Thomas Partey's fit, I'd play him. And we've got some massive games coming up now. For me, Thomas Partey, if he's fit, he plays, and then when we go to Europa League game, he's left out again. But listen. Jorginho's a more than adequate replacement for one game and all that. Again, a little bit like Eddie. If you're going 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games, you're going to miss someone like Thomas Partey. So, listen, we're going to have to wet nurse him to the end of the season, Dan. That's how it's going to be. We just got to get used to it. But I'll tell you what, going into next season, you can't wet nurse when you've got Champions League football as well as Premier League football.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because a lot of people in the chat are saying play Partey and Jorginho together. Xhaka needs to drop out. I don't know how fit Partey is, but if he's fit, I would play him because he is so important, mate. We ain't lost a game with Thomas Partey playing. I mean, that is unreal, isn't it? That season, we're not 15 games in anymore. Do you know what I mean? We've gone past that now, and we've still not lost a game when Thomas Partey's been playing. He came off the pitch and we lost to Everton. He didn't play against Brighton, PSV, or Man United, or Man City, and we lost them all. So it's crazy how important he is. Similarly to, like you said, Casemiro, how important he is to Manchester United. When they don't have him, they have like a 23% win ratio. So it's very, very key, those positions. And I think Thomas Partey, if he plays, he's got to play. Ash, like one bit of news that came out yesterday, don't know how true it is, Bukayo Saka looks to be signing a new deal at Arsenal. As a Leicester fan, I know it doesn't bother you too much, but as an Arsenal fan, how excited should we be that if this is the case?
Yeah, he's a class act, isn't he? He's a young lad. He's done a great job in the Arsenal shirt. Obviously, he's come through the ranks at Arsenal, and you guys should be excited about it. Why should he? Why should he go anywhere else? Arsenal are firing at the minute, aren't they? Things are looking good. Obviously, there's the money teams. It would be sad to see him go to the likes of a Man City or a Chelsea and probably not get more football. So, yeah, I think it's a wise decision. He's Arsenal through and through. So I think all the Arsenal fans should be excited about the fact that he's signed and committed his future to the team. It's a real statement of intent, not only from the club, but the player himself.
Do you think, Ash, as well, like from your point of view, looking in from an Arsenal perspective, Saka, Martinelli, Saliba, all like looking at getting new contracts?
Yeah.
Like as far as the project is concerned, it's firing if you're keeping them long term. It's going to be like a bright future, is what I'm getting at, Ash.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Arteta was always saying, it was like, I know there was the joke of sort of trust the process, but now at this time you're reaping the rewards of trusting that process because they have always sort of kept with the young players and installing the youth and having a very young team and making sure it worked together instead of going out and splashing hundreds of millions like some of the teams are. And it's worked, hasn't it? Let's face it, you're playing some great football and you've got a bunch of young players. If I'm right, I think the average of your team is the youngest in the league. If I'm correct, the starting 11. So, and you're top as well. So that tells you what future you've got coming.
Yeah, man, no, fair play. Lee, this is massively important if this is the case. I know Martinelli's already signed and there's rumours that Saliba will follow. But I do hear some fans still going, wow, that's a lot of money. I couldn't give a monkey's, mate. £200,000 a week, that'll do me. Get him signed up, man. If Eddie's worth 100k a week, then he's going to have 200, isn't he, Saka?
End of it. Exactly that, like, you know what I mean? 200, listen, Manchester City were prepared to give him £200 million plus £100 million signing on, you know, as well. So it's for me, it's a no-brainer. Like, we haven't spent any transfer money on him at all, like, you know. So, and when these kids come through, you've got to look after them. You've got to look after them, like, you know what I mean? So they don't want to go moving to another club and whatever, like, you know. So, like, listen, I've said to you ages ago that I think this has been agreed for a while, like, you know what I mean? Because he don't sit where his family don't sit where I sit now. They've gone up to a box, and when you get a box, yeah, so you get the new signing. So I do think that that's something to do with it, and rightly so. And the same with Saliba. Dan, if you say to Saliba, oh, well, we're only going to pay you 150 grand a week. There's other teams out there that are prepared to pay the money. You've got to be able to pay the money. And Arsenal are in a position where we can pay the money. Listen, we haven't had to go and spend 50, 60, 70 million on a right winger because we've got one for come through the ranks. We haven't had to spend 50, 60 million on a left-sided player because we only spent 6 million on Martinelli. We've also got Smith Rowe there, like, you know. So the club is in a very, very healthy place because our the development of the youth players has meant that we can do this. So I don't think it's good. Now, Yama says there about bonuses. I know for a fact, because I've spoken to someone inside the club, that there is a lot of that now, where there is sort of normal wages, but if they get the bonuses are magnificent at Arsenal now, like so if they were to win the league, it would bump their wages up a lot better, like so they're putting them into their contracts and things like that. So it's all good for the future of the club. I will be very, very pleased when it comes through that he has signed and there's that pen in front of him and the paper, and then Saliba. Once them three are done, I think then that's fantastic. You know what I mean? That we've got them all our youngsters that have come through the academy or have been bought, you know, like Martinelli and Saliba, and they're all on long-term contracts. One, it gives you the stability to go on for 3 or 4 years, knowing that they're about. If not, then you know that if you're going to take a Saka out of this football club, you're going to take a Martinelli out of this football club or a Saliba, you're going to have to play top money, and that's what we need, like, you know what I mean? So that is important for us as well, like, you know. And at the end of it, Arsenal cannot be put behind Dan, you know what I mean? And when it comes to the wages, they've got to be up there on that, because one thing would be on, and I know that it happens because it happened with Ashley Cole. You're sitting in the England camp in a couple of weeks' time, you know, you're talking to Grealish, you know, how much you on, like, Jack, like, I want 200 grand a week, like, or Rashford 300 grand a week, you know. Saka's up there, and if not better than those players, you know. So you've got to pay the going rate.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely bang on, mate. I really couldn't give a monkey's how much the club spend and how much people are on. It doesn't bother me. It ain't my money. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of Arsenal accountants out there. Oh my God, we're spending £7 million on a left back. I don't care. I couldn't give a damn. Like, honestly, if the money's there, the money's there. Stan Kroenke's a multi-billionaire. We ain't going to go in the mud, are we? Do you know what I mean? We ain't going to go in the red. So
the other thing, Dan, is if you don't pay that, right? Let's be honest now. If you don't pay that, right,
where's going to go?
He's going to go for nothing. Yeah. And then you've got to go out and spend 50, 60 million on another player. So, you know, when you look at it, and, you know, it's a no-brainer, an absolute no-brainer.
Fair play, man. Fair play. Let's move on to Leicester. Ash,
Yes.
you're on my channel, and we were just like giving you some counselling, mate, most of the start of the season. It was just shocking. It looked like you were dead and buried, going to get relegated. But I think it's fair to say, looking back now, you had a lot of players out. You have picked your form up. You're starting to get them back again now, and you're starting to see the rewards. And like Lee said earlier in the stream, I actually do agree with him. Like, how Leicester weren't at least 2-0 up against Man United in the first half. Completely wasted your chances there. I can't remember who it was. Was it Dewsbury Hall where someone went through at the start? No, it was Barnes, wasn't it? Harvey Barnes went through at the start. That should have been 1-0. There was another couple of efforts from Iniacho and some of the other lads. I'm thinking, come on, Leicester, they should be burying these. But the good thing, I suppose, is that you're creating chances. You're looking a hell of a lot more positive now. Now, I wanted to ask you seriously, are these rumours about some of these knocks to Tielemans and Maddison, like, is that actually true? Like, what's your team news going into this game tomorrow, mate?
So the team news, obviously, I think Tielemans will be available for selection. But Maddison is facing a late fitness test. That is fact. Rodgers has
Okay.
announced that in his press conference that he will be facing a late fitness test, which obviously will be a massive loss to us because he's the key of our creativity, isn't he, James Maddison? So, late fitness test. It's the niggle on the knee again that he's been carrying all season, which sort of ruled out his World Cup as well, pretty much. He still went, didn't he? But I don't think he was fit. So, yeah, not good news for us, really. But Tielemans, I think, is available, and it wouldn't surprise me if we're seeing Tielemans play the position that Maddison normally does, or if it's not Tielemans, it'll be Dennis Pratt, and he'll probably either have Samare behind him or Mendy. So, yeah, it is true, Dan, unfortunately. Maddison has got a knock.
That's massive for Arsenal because
Big man,
you know my thoughts on James Maddison. I just think he's
Yeah.
ridiculously good, mate. Like, absolutely love the kid, and I think there's no irony that all of a sudden Leicester start playing well when this lad comes back into the side. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, he's absolutely class. He really is. I'm a big fan, and I think that maybe he ain't been 100% fit and didn't look himself the other day, and now obviously that's why he's got a late fitness test. But
Yeah.
one player I do want to mention is your new signing, mate, or your new couple of signings, to be fair, Tete and Suter, looking okay, man.
Yeah, they look solid. Suter's a big troubling centre-back, which we've needed because obviously we've been playing Dan Amarte at the back most of the season, and we bought him as a central defensive midfielder. So that shows you how thin we've been on the grounds in that position. For some strange reason, Soyuncu is just not being selected. He was absolutely stellar for us the first couple of seasons we had him, but he's just not even in contention at the minute, which is, I don't know why. Maybe he's just fell out of favour with Rodgers. And Evans has obviously been unfit, and I'm not too sure if he's actually back for selection this weekend. I know he's getting on a bit, but he still knows how to defend, And if you've got to bring that third centre back on to defend a lead, he's a good guy to bring on, So, and so Sota's excellent. He seems good on the ball. He carries it forward. A bit like Maguire used to for us, to be honest. He looks like he can carry it out to that sort of middle circle and then play it forward, which is what we've needed. Tete looks lively as well. He was good against United. He was quiet against Spurs, but to be honest with you, I think that was Rodgers' plans. I think he wanted to hit the left side, and it really worked that day. Obviously, with the result, Barnes was on fire that game against Spurs. But we failed to mention my favourite signing, to be honest, Potsy, which is Christensen.
Yeah, I was going to say left back. He looks
Absolutely
quality,
insane.
doesn't he?
Yeah, he's my favourite out of the three, to be honest with you. He's doing overlaps, which we've missed, I'm not digging into Thomas, but I personally have always thought that he's just not quite ready for Premier League level yet. But he got handed the job this season due to injuries and so on. But yeah, Christensen's doing the overlaps. He's playing some lovely balls. He's getting back. When he's making clearances, he's trying to whip the fans up. And that's what Leicester's needed because it's been also mediocre, shall I say, even below mediocre most of the season. And these three seem to have really rejuvenated it. We had a great first half against United. Like you say, we were unlucky to not go in sort of 2 up maybe. But then the experience and their quality players only takes a moment of magic from top players like Rashford and Saka, for example. And this is where you've got to be careful. And Rodgers said all 3 of them goals were preventable. It wasn't the fact that we were playing absolutely awful against United. It was just mistakes. And we've got to tidy up on that because that's why we're down that half of the table. But I think we're going to stay up. But with the 3 new signings, going back to the point, Potsy, I think they're looking sharp.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I've never tipped you to go down. I always thought your squad was way too good enough, and I think Rodgers is actually a half decent manager. Although some people don't give him enough credit, in my opinion, what he's done. But Lee, Christensen, rightly so. I think I've been really impressed with him. But Saka, he comes up against now, so let's see how he gets on against him. I think the 2 centre-back pairings, once they do settle into Leicester, because Wout Faes is only a few months in himself. So actually, when you look at him and Suter together, They could form a good partnership. They've got Castagna obviously at right back now, and Ricardo Pereira, I believe Ash is back now as well. I look at Leicester's side. There's only really the goalkeeper that I'm still a bit questionable about, really. So I think we can get at this side, Lee, but they've definitely picked up their form judges, haven't they?
Yeah, like listen, it's strange, isn't it? Like when Brendan Rodgers gets a little bit of stick.
No way! Hang on! I was stopping you here. What is going on?
There we go. He ain't got a fillet of fish, has he?
He's gone for it.
He's gone for it. What a weirdo you are, Dave. Like,
you
said you was going to get the mega
What
big
does it say? What does it say? Added extra mustard.
Mustard,
Look,
yeah.
Added mustard.
And what? So you didn't get the
You didn't get the
Big
Grand
Mac.
Big Mac.
I did get that. as well. But I'm going to eat
Yeah,
that now.
I don't believe
so
you,
I'll
show
see you
us.
back, guys.
I don't believe now. Show us. I don't believe you.
I will in 2 seconds.
What do you mean? Like you got to go and order it now? Like what? I'll tell you what. He ain't all there, old days. I'm telling you, like that. Who goes to McDonald's and orders a fillet of fish? It's like going to a chip shop and ordering a burger, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean, what? I can't believe it. Like, Yeah, but getting back to it, it's funny. Like with Brendan Rodgers, he gets criticised and all that, but he's got players. All of a sudden, players come back. Look, the players are doing. It's the players now, not Brendan Rodgers. It's well done, Dave. Well done. We're very pleased, well done. So he weren't lying. He's just gone and got the box from somewhere. So but now all of a sudden, Brendan Rodgers is, they've got a few players back in the team. They look a decent side again, and. He'd have been disappointed after that game against Man United because, he's set up really well and it's mistakes that have happened that have cost them, and they'd be looking not to do that again. Be interesting to say what he does because I think if you look at that first half, they went at Man United a bit, they went for it, left themselves open and got caught. Will they do that at home? Hopefully they will do. Hopefully Leicester will come out and give it a go because that mean it'll be a bit more open. I think this is going to be a good game where it's going to be like that, where the next two games for us, I just think, we're just hoping looking to break the team down. But I think Leicester feel under Rodgers, I think that, you've got to give him a bit of credit. He gives it a go wherever he goes. And, I know he's been given a lot of criticism, but I think, he's been a victim of his own success, Dan. They've punched above their weight, FA Cup final, they won the league a few years ago, but they've been in the top four race. And listen, they would have got top four if Maddison had got injured that season. Done his hip in, didn't he, Ash, or something like that? He was out for a while. Yeah. He's the boy that makes them tick. Now, I watched Maddison on was it Saturday or Sunday? I can't remember when I think it was Sunday, wasn't it? Then they played Man United.
Sunday,
yeah. And you could tell that he weren't right. There was something not right with him, So I do think that he is struggling with that knee injury a little bit, Now they've got a decision to make. Does the knee injury get worse if he plays, or it's not a problem, or do they? If that's okay, then do they play him at 80% fit rather than 100? And I think that even though he won at his best against Man United, if he carries a threat. So even if he's not 100% fit, I think they'll take the gamble tomorrow and play him. I do I think he's that good a player. But I think it's an issue that probably you agree with me, Ash, here, that they've got to sort out, whether it be in the summer to have a complete rest or even try and get him to the international break. I can't see him going to the England games. I think once they get the break then, or they get it sorted now, ready for the last part of the season. I don't really know what Leicester would do with that.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think what they're going to do is get him in as much as they can. Just on even on the off chance, isn't it? Because it's a moment of magic. He's one of them players, isn't he? So I think the more game time he gets, but I do agree. He looked off the pace against United, and obviously with the fitness test coming up. I don't know. Normally when Leicester say that, Rodgers says that, it's a fitness test, they don't play. So I'm not holding my breath.
You've got the FA Cup game. Is it Tuesday you got the FA Cup?
Yeah, against Blackburn, that's right.
So So do you think that maybe he's probably looking at maybe to say that so that it gives him the excuse to leave him out for this game and then play him in the FA Cup game?
It really wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't surprise me because obviously it's a trophy that we can be going for this season.
Well, yeah, like you've got to be favourites. Is it Blackburn you're playing? I don't know.
Blackburn, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to be favourites for that.
Got to be favourites for that, and then you're in the last 8.
Yeah.
It's all of a sudden you got a chance of getting to Wembley, and after having a bit of a disappointing, so I think that maybe you'd be looking at that, maybe like resting Maddison for this one for that game, because don't get me wrong, Blackburn you can't take lightly, but I would think that Leicester will be favourites for that.
You'd rather go all out for that one as well, Ash, wouldn't you? I mean, I know you want to beat Arsenal, I get that, but you'd rather stay in the cup and lose to Arsenal than beat Arsenal and go out of the cup. Am I right in saying that?
Of course. I mean, if we were still floating around like the 18, 19 points, then I think it's all hands on deck. But we're obviously sort of 13th, 14th in the league. I don't think we're going to go down. We've still got a lot of the teams near us to come to us. Out of the last 3 fixtures, we've picked up some points against some very tough teams. Villa away. Who would fancy us there? Who would fancy us to beat Spurs? Not many, and we even got a point against until then, an informed Brighton. So yeah, I just think you've got to go for these cup runs. You've got to go for it, and it proved when Rodgers made that decision a couple of years back, it paid off. So why not again? And a couple of the teams have gone out, haven't they?
That's what I'm saying. A few of the big clubs, that's right, Ash. Like, a few of the big clubs. Just looking at the league table, though, Ash, if you was to lose, you're only 4 points. Listen, I don't think it's even worth looking down there. Really, I think Leicester got too much. But you don't want to be put in there. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if West Ham were to win, they're in the bottom 3 at the moment. They'd be on 23 points. You'd be on 24. So it is a little one where you want right. But what I'm saying is, I think, say if you was playing West Ham or Bournemouth or someone like that, I think that Rodgers would go, right, I'm taking the risk with Maddison.
Yeah.
But maybe because it's Arsenal, it's a little bit like, I think maybe might be that's what he's might be looking at. I don't know. It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting because you don't want to. The worst thing scenario for Leicester is that you play Maddison, you get beat, he gets injured, and then like you're under the pressure, under that pump. And I think that if he was to go out against someone like Blackburn, the pressure would be back on him again.
Of course, that's it. So if he takes a knock against Arsenal on Saturday, if they do play him, like you say, it affects the rest of the season, doesn't it? Because we're we're a different machine without Maddison. We're just not good enough sometimes, which is the worry. I mean, I don't know how we'd look without Maddison with the 3 new signings in. Maybe we've not seen that yet, but maybe we might be okay if Pratt comes in or Tielemans, because I know Tielemans can play that role. Obviously, he's not as agile as Maddison, but he knows how to pick a pass from nowhere. And but yeah, I completely agree with you, Lee. I think that our job is to stay up, and if it was somebody that is around us in the table, then he would play Maddison 100% because he'd want to pick them points up and not risk it. But like you say, against a team like against Arsenal, we are obviously odds on to lose, and that's the way you've got to look at it, really. And why not just sort of play a shut up shop game against you guys and see whether we can pick a point up or something like that, and rest Maddison, get to the quarterfinal of the cup. As a manager, that's what I'd be thinking.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Ash, how you felt tomorrow will go and how you can try and get 3 points, but you just kind of answered, really. Maybe try and go a little bit like that and try and take something out of the game. Do you think that's what Brendan will do?
Yeah, I think because obviously the last few games people have seen us going for it. And Man United eventually took the sting out of us. So is he going to go that predictable again this weekend? Especially if James Maddison's not fit? Maybe not. It might be a much more of a chess match than we think. Arsenal are a very attacking team themselves. They play lovely out wide, create lots of chances. So we've got to be on it. We've got to be on it tomorrow, and we've got to make sure that we're tight at the back, because it could be a very, very high scoring game if both teams are not, to be honest. We've both got defences, mistakes in them defence back lines, and it could be a massive scoring game if we're both. But I feel like if it is a high scoring game, we'd only be on the sore end of that, unfortunately, at the minute.
Yeah, Lee, I've got to ask you the similar question, really, because I think Arsenal can get back this back line. I know that we just spoke about it's different now. They've got some new signings. Hopefully, Maddison is out from Arsenal's point of view. If he is in, then it's going to be a harder midfield battle, in my opinion. But keeping a clean sheet has not been easy for Arsenal the last few, and that's something we could boast away from home early on, but I ain't seen that of late, so I want to start seeing that changing again. And I think if we do keep that clean sheet, I think we'll win the game. You know, I really do. I think I can see Arsenal scoring. So how do we win this game, judges, for you?
Yeah, I think we've got to be defensively good, a little bit like we was against them last season. Like, you know, get a couple of goals early and then defend and control the game. What I want to get us back to, Dan, is when we was controlling games. You know, like Brentford away, Chelsea away. You know, keeping a 1-0 win, but we was always in control of the game. Keeping them at arm's length. Feel in the last few games that's not been the case. Even against Aston Villa, they were landing punches on our defence and seeing us wobble a little bit, like, you know, where I felt in the past that wasn't happening. So we need to get back to that little bit of security, like, you know. And as I say, that's why I asked the question about Maddison, because our Leicester going to go in for this game. I think from our point of view, I'm looking at them thinking like, yeah, we've got a game Wednesday, they've got a game Tuesday, but it's just as important for them as it is for us. The midweek game, you know, I think it's a massive game for Leicester, the FA Cup. I think it's a trophy that they've got a chance of winning, because if they play at home like they did against Spurs and teams like that come there, they're more than capable of beating them teams. So it'll be really interesting what they do. I think that we've got to try and, you know, put it on them a little bit, like, you know, and get that control and get at their back four and scare them a little bit in that first 10, 15, 20 minutes. If we can do that, and then I think that we could come out winners. Look, listen, I'll take, if you said to me Arsenal are going to win 4-3 tomorrow, I'm going to take it. Like, but I just think for us to get back to the confidence after the way it went last week, when it was a bit all over the place, even though it was fantastic, what we need now to do is go, all right, yeah, we can win that way, but when we can win planned. And that means like a 1-0 or a 2-0. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think we've got to go there tomorrow. Nothing would please me more if Arsenal have won that 1 or 2-0. Like, you know, listen, you know, if Arsenal won it 5-0 or something like that, of course you're gonna take that. But I don't see that happening. I think it's going to be get it back into the proper structure of where our teams win games, and that's very, very important for us. And also, it just gives that defence a little bit of confidence, because we have conceded, you know, like last 2 games down, 5 goals conceded. You know, we need to shore it up. We need our back four to say, do you know what, we're back to how we should be. So I think it's important that we keep a clean sheet tomorrow.
Yeah, it's key for me.
Not
mate. It really
0-0.
is. No, we got to score, of course, but I don't think scoring is going to be an issue. I really don't. You know, I hope Mash don't mind me saying, but Leicester have conceded goals too, so I really feel like we can get at that defence. But I just feel worried about what we can do at our end, because at the moment it's looking like we are conceding goals. I wanted to ask you, Lee, before I come to score predictions and come to a close, like, there's a couple of things that not concern me, but I've just got questions about. One is, where is Kieran Tierney? Is he still here? Has he been sold already? Because I ain't seen him. And I've seen Zinchenko have some really poor games since I've been away and then pick it up again. But every time then I see Tomiyasu just randomly come in for one game, but I don't see anything about Kieran Tierney. So I understand what's happening there. And he's apparently upset now and he wants to leave in the summer. So I wanted to ask you on that. I wanted to ask you as well, Lee, on Mikel Arteta's plan A and plan B. When things aren't quite going right, I see like-for-like subs. I see Trossard for Martinelli, Tomiyasu for Ben White. You know, Tierney's an option. Vieira comes on every game for either Xhaka or Ødegaard. I don't know. Is there something more that Mikel Arteta can do? So I'll give you those last 2 questions to wrap up, mate.
Well, the thing with Tierney, he come on against Aston Villa. I think that, you know, listen, Zinchenko was shocking until he scored. I'm going to be really honest with you. Like, he was shocking, like, you know, and then he gets the goal and, then he turns to gold dust again, like, you know. So I think there is a case for Tierney to come in. You know, I've been a little bit strange why it hasn't happened, but I think Arteta's got this thing at this moment, Dan, is that we've got to the top of the league where we're by playing this way, and that's the way it's going to continue. And I kind of agree with that, really. You know, like, because it's gone slightly wrong in a couple of games, it's completely changed things. So I don't think that we should do that. So I can see where he's going from it. Like, you know, as I say, I can see you questioning that. But then after the game against Leicester, you know, he got it spot on. So I think that we're going to have to just go with it and see how it goes. Tierney's going to have to be patient. I do think he's going to get games. He's certainly going to get the Europa League games. I still think that he's still got a role to play in this team, very much so. Like, I think that when we go to the likes of Liverpool, the likes of Manchester City and all that, I think maybe we need to be a little bit tighter. So I think that there is room for him to come in there. Like, but I don't think you're going to see a plan B, because that's the way he's got to this where we are at this moment in time, and I don't think he's going to change it. Whether that is the right thing or not, I don't know, Dan, but that's how it looks like.
Yeah, I had a chat with Tom Cantor on his channel last night about it, and we were both sort of saying that when it doesn't quite look like it's going to go well for us, what do we do? Do we just throw Vieira on? Do we just throw Smith Rowe on when he's fit? Like, what happens? Or do we try to go to a plan B? And I don't think we have a plan B player. I don't think we have an Olivier Giroud type player. I don't think we have someone in there who can be an Alexis Sanchez player. So I think we need to look at what it is that plan B might be. The other thing I'll say is when Pep and Klopp were at their best, they didn't have a plan B either. They just made plan A better. So he needs to do one or two, basically, is what I'm getting at. He needs to go, right, plan B, we ain't got that right. Let's make plan A better. How are we going to do that? Do I have the tools on the bench? Have I been left short still from the summer and January? They're all questions that are going around in my head. Now, at the moment, it don't matter because it's lovely. We're sitting top of the tree and everyone's happy. But when it does get to the stage where perhaps we're chasing City, in a few weeks' time, if it goes wrong, let's say, do we have the tools there to go, right, we need to try something different? And I'm not so sure that we have. So hopefully we don't need to and we keep going and everything plan A works. But I just do think that there is an option there. Now, Tom made a good point and he said, you know, I said, look, I need to see Jesus back now, Lee. I'm sorry. I think Eddie's done a really good job, but I need him to come back in. But, you know, Tom rightly said if Ireland was out, they'd only have Alvarez on the bench. They wouldn't have a striker on the bench either. So I get that. But we can't be going for a title at the moment without a centre forward on the bench. Right. That's my opinion.
Him coming back is going to be key, Dan.
Key, absolutely
key thing. If he comes back flying, I think Arsenal will win the league. If he doesn't come back flying, who knows? So we've still got that to come back. And Smith Rowe, you know, they do give us a little bit more options going forward. Like, you know, Smith Rowe's had another week now, you know, and I think that's very, very important. But I will say this, Dan, I've said it on many shows over the last couple of weeks. Take Haaland out of City for 3 months. Take Rashford out of Manchester United for 3 months. Where would they be? I don't think they'd be top of the league, like, you know. So whatever he's done well, like, you know. So at this moment in time, I'm not going to panic at the moment. I think that we're going to be in for some roller coaster rides. There's going to be, you know, if I had air, I'd be pulling it out, like, you know, in the next few weeks and against Leicester as well. I don't think it's going to be an easy game against Leicester. I'll tell you that now. I don't think it's going to be plain sailing. I don't see any game being plain sailing. I think if we beat Leicester, it's going to be tough. And then the next 2 games after that, it's about breaking teams down and, you know, we're going to be frustrated and whatever, like, you know. So I don't see it being a comfortable ride at the moment. We might get one game along the line when you win comfortably, but I don't see it over these next 3 or 4 games.
Fair play. Before we come to score predictions, going to put a super chat in. We've got one here from Snake Eyes. If Dave's about to chuck it on the screen, here it is, Snake Eyes. I feel we struggle when Xhaka and Ødegaard have average or poor games. If those two have better games, we beat Leicester easily. Zinchenko needs to be dropped for this game. What front three would you pick? This is an interesting one, actually, judges, because I was speaking to Andy the other day, old Nunny, Andy Nunn, and he was saying that he might try something different across the front three and drop Eddie and have Trossard, Martinelli and Saka as the front three. Can you see anything like that happening?
No. Why would he? He's won the game against Aston Villa. Listen, it worked. Trossard done well, and then a tiring right back come, in Matty Cash, who I think's decent. He's then got the rocket of Martinelli going in there. So that'd be the only change that would be made if there is a change. I'm going to say now that it won't happen. I think it'd be the same front three. I do agree about the Xhaka and Odegaard thing. They stepped up their game second half, and it made a big difference. Same with Xhaka. People are asking for him to be dropped and all that. For me, I ain't going to drop him, And listen, when people go, like the front three of Trossard, Martinelli and Saka, he had the perfect opportunity to do that against Villa. He didn't. He stuck with Eddie. You know what I mean? 5 games without a goal now, Eddie. He's due a goal.
He has to be due a goal, 100%. Right, let's get to it. Predictions, Ash. Start with you, man. What are you going for?
Do you know what? I'm going to go 2-2.
2-2.
Yeah, 2-2.
Going for a Desmond. Judges?
2-2.
I'm going to go more because I want it. You know what I mean? Like, I think Arsenal will win it. I don't know what the score will be, but for me to come away from there tomorrow thinking that we've got a chance of winning, I want us to get a clean sheet. So 0-2 for me.
Fair play, man. Fair play. I hope you're right. I'm going to go 3-1 to the Arsenal. I fancy some goals for us, and I don't see a clean sheet because I've not been filled with confidence that we can keep them of late. But I do feel that we can get this Leicester back line, and I don't rate their goalkeeper. So I think we can. Neither does Ash. I can't believe you ain't got a new goalkeeper, by the way, Ash. I think that's crazy. Like, get rid of Kasper Schmeichel now. It just looks stupid, doesn't it?
I had 4 transfers on the January list, and they ticked everyone other than a goalkeeper. But...
Oh, mate. Well, listen, scores in the chat: 2-1 Arsenal, 2-0 Arsenal, 3-0 to Arsenal, 3-2 Arsenal from Cassis just about, and 2-0 Arsenal. I hope that you're right, judges. I'll take a 2-0 like last season. I'd absolutely love it. I guess all 3 of us will be there, will we? Judges, are you going to go?
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be up there, so I'll see you guys up there.
Yeah, Ash will be there. You can come for a beer with us afterwards and make sure that we're allowed in the pub with colours this time.
Oh, yeah, I'll take you to the right pub this time.
Yeah, Mike kicked us out last time. We went to Ash and he's like, get him out. And Ash is like, hang on, he's with me. He's like, he's Arsenal, get him out.
Yeah, we'll get to the right boozer.
Yeah, make sure we get in the right place this time. But let's hope we do it. Dave's going to bring a 4 fillet of fish for us all. Look, he said, judges. Yeah, he's...
You can keep it, tell him like that.
Listen, you're gone, Dave. It's just a smile. That's all we get. People, make sure you do us a favor. Make sure you smash a like. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you do the same thing on our channel if you can over at Football's 12th Man Podcast. We're on the road to 8K now. You'll see myself, Ash, and all the other guys on there talking all things Premier League football. Ash, thank you so much, man, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Nah, man, thank you so much for jumping on, bro. You're great as always. How can people follow you on socials, mate?
I don't really do it. I do it for obviously the love of football. I'm not really massive on socials, but it's at Ash Oceans Apart on Twitter if you do want to follow me. So I just love talking football with you guys.
Great stuff, man. We appreciate you coming on, Ash. Thank you so much, mate. Much appreciated. Judges, I will see you tomorrow, mate.
See you tomorrow. Look forward to seeing you. Look forward to it.
Yeah, we look forward indeed. Make sure you smash on like on the way out, people. Until then, we'll see you next time, and up the Arsenal.